recording this video Saturday 22nd of June 2013. Hope you had a good week's trading. Well, got a couple of emails Friday, people saying could you do a roundup of the multi-market charts. So happy to do that, kind of show you where we're at, what I think is going on. There's a couple of themes in those, so I'll try and draw those out as we go through the charts. But first of all, the bond market chart, this is the most important one. So here we go, we've got daily and weekly charts side by side. We've got the better indicators on both of these, exactly the same. And on the weekly chart you can see we had this pullback to end of trend pattern, exhaustion buying, flush and so on. And now on the daily chart what we've done with this blue professional bar slicing through the support level, we've broken into a trend move on the daily chart here. So remember, trend trumps cycle, so trend moves are always stronger. We're going to come up to a cyclical support on the weekly chart here. We had resistance kind of come in at this last kind of point and we kind of fell into this downtrend here. We're due for a cyclical support on the weekly chart, but remember we're in a downtrend because we've sliced through support here. So the trend move will always be stronger, but we'll try and find some kind of support that will bounce off on the weekly chart here. Obviously, you know, we've not seen blue professional bars kind of down at the lows. We've not seen exhaustion selling on a left shoulder, so we've not seen that yet. So we're in a downtrend. We've traveled quite a long ways, so at some point we'll have some kind of a bounce, but it doesn't look like that left shoulder is in yet. But anyway, so downtrend on the daily chart. Copper. Copper, we've got trend moves on both the daily and the weekly charts here. So you can see on the weekly chart when we fell, we had this blue professional bar. Initially we kind of had support kind of come in and then we fell through there. That's falling into a downtrend on the weekly chart. That was around here up at the 340 type level, and subsequently we've had a little bit of a bounce, but now over the last week and a half we've fallen through support on the daily chart here. So we're into downtrends on these two time frames, and we bounced off this previous support level kind of down here, but we've not seen exhaustion selling on a left shoulder. It was a blue professional bar and we bounced from there, so the high of that blue professional bar is pretty important in terms of whether that was professionals buying a little bit of a double bottom here or not. So let's wait and see, but because we've not seen that exhaustion selling on the left shoulder, I think the likelihood is for us to drop through 3 and kind of keep going. It's in a downtrend because we're below support on these two time frames, so let's see where that goes. And again, you know, copper is a measure of kind of global growth, global economic growth, and you know this has been extremely weak over the last, you know, since the beginning of the year basically, where we had this amateur up bar on the weekly chart. Blue professional bar kind of tops out at 380. We broke the low of that, and this blue professional bar is getting the move going, bang, and we've just been you know, in a downtrend ever since. But this is an important level. We've kind of held temporarily, but because we're in a downtrend, I think we're going to keep going through it in time. Crude. Now this is kind of this theme that we've seen a bunch of charts where the last 2 or 3 weeks we've had a little bit of a counter trend rally, and we've come into cyclical resistance on the weekly chart. So you'll find there's a little white dot there. That's the first cyclical resistance kind of point plotted on the weekly chart, and you'll see that on a bunch of charts. That's the other kind of theme that I've seen in these charts. We've hit resistance on the weekly chart here. Very weak buying going on. Thursday, Friday we also put in that resistance on the daily chart. So now we've got resistance on 2 time frames, so that the energy, the downward energy on those 2 time frames should propel us kind of to the downside. So we've kind of topped out on the daily chart with all these flush patterns going on, bearish divergence right there, and that's kind of getting the move going, falling through 98 to 96s. That was a huge day on Thursday, and now we're kind of continuing down. But because the energy now is to the downside, we've got cyclical resistance on both these time frames, we're going to be starting into a down phase on crude. Now gold. Gold, last time I did a chart on gold, it was after we had this pullback to end of trend sequence. We had exhaustion selling on a left shoulder, bullish divergence kind of come in, and I said what I'd be looking for in the next few weeks was testing amateur down bars, testing into these lows, then with a breakout of resistance would be a signal that this potentially was going to find this level was a important support level, that we'd have a bounce, a little bit of a bounce into a pullback in a downtrend on the weekly chart. And in fact what we had on those daily charts, more than anything, we had kind of amateur up bars here. You can see 1, 2, 3 in a row. this one, another Amida up bar. These weren't going the other way. They weren't kind of testing into the lows with the Amidas kind of getting wrong-footed, going down. They were actually going up. So that shows the Amidas were actually trying to buy this support level, expecting it to go up. And in fact, what's happened was we've cracked through that level again into another blue professional bar, falling through the ice through a kind of cyclical low period down here, and blue professional bar. Now, the pattern that's now kind of showing is the amount of selling going on. It's pretty extreme, but it's not as extreme as this last move down. This is like a little bit of a shunt down into kind of new lows, and everybody thinks, oh my god, you know, I've totally given up on this. All the Amidas that were trying to buy this as a low are wondering what the hell they should do. We've got cyclical first bullish divergence on the weekly chart here, kind of coming in, and we're going to try this again. This will probably be a flush pattern here. Quite a lot of selling, but not as much as we had on the exhaustion kind of level here. We've got a cyclical support to kind of come in here, and again I'd be looking for the same type thing. We've now moved to another kind of support level down here. Do we get the testing, the correct testing that we need in order to see a bounce from here, which is Amida down bars over the next week or two, in order to find that low and then have a bounce from there? So we kind of shunted down into a new support level, and so we're going to go through the same business again. Rather than thinking that this is just going to continue, we're just going to go through 1,000 into 800s or whatever, I think it's more likely that what we're trying to do is again try and find a support level down here. Silver, we never got those kind of Amida down bars at all. There's an Amida up bar, it wasn't like that testing at all. That resistance level kind of came in, same thing, shunted down, blue professional down bar. We came back into the zone there, but the highs never got broken, and now we're through support again. This is kind of falling through the ice, another support level, blue professional bar kind of going down here. But again, I think the same thing. In terms of selling, you can see a flush pattern is likely to develop there. We're going to try and test this level down at 19, kind of down here. Let's see, we haven't had cyclical first bullish divergence on the weekly chart yet, but rather than saying it's all over and this is going to continue into a stronger and stronger downtrend, again I think we're just going to be playing around these lows and trying to find that support level properly. So there we go, that's kind of the markets. Let's look at the currencies. Now, currencies, I've been super bullish long term on the dollar index, and the last 2 or 3 weeks has been hard because this thing just kind of collapsed along with the bond market. But over the last couple of days, what we had was blue professional down bars, a Rambo pattern, exhaustion selling. We overshot here on the cyclical support level, and we're actually going to make a cyclical support level on the weekly chart probably after the next week's activity when that kind of comes in, and we're kind of coming back up into the zone. So because of this kind of weakness, I don't think we're in a runaway uptrend in dollar index, but we've certainly got strength in dollar index, and all the other currencies are starting to roll over, and you can start to see that Japanese yen. So the patterns, you'll see a little bit of a common theme here. We had Amida up bars and into a cyclical resistance on the weekly chart. So Amida up bars after blue professional bars, 105, we kind of rolled over here, and this will be a pullback and a downtrend when it goes off, but it's a week or two away from actually signaling that. So we're trying to find that low, pull back to end of trends, kind of going to go in, and we've just kind of rolled over here. So continuation of this very strong kind of downtrend. Euro, here's the pattern I was kind of talking about. So Amida up bars into a resistance, cyclical resistance on the weekly chart here. We overshot it here on the daily chart, and we got caught by the next highest time frame. So blue professional bars getting short, taking profits, Amidas getting wrong-footed, expecting a breakout to new trends. We get caught by a cyclical resistance in the higher time frame where we get turned around, and that looks like just Amida testing. They were selling it at 136 here, kind of picked it up a little bit here in the 128s, but then Amidas going the wrong way at 134, and we're continuing down. Blue professional bar kind of heading down through the lows, so I think we're going to be heading down now. We've got the energy on the daily chart and on the weekly chart with cyclical resistance, both kind of moving this way. I think we're going to kind of keep on down. And same thing on pound. So pound, it was a daily cyclical resistance and a weekly coming in at the same time. Amida up bars here after blue professional bars. The detail on the daily chart, blue professional bars kind of taking profits, getting short, and then the Amida bars kind of getting wrong-footed. We've broken to the low of that sequence, so we're coming back down again. So we got again the energy kind of down here. It's starting to flip over, heading down. The other point to make is once you get a double pattern like this where these cyclical levels are lining up, that becomes an incredibly important cyclical resistance point at 157.5. So if we were to break that on the way up, that would be an extremely strong move into an uptrend on the way up. But what we've got is the cyclical energy kind of turning down, so we'd expect that to kind of join up forces and kind of keep the downtrend in. But as a point where that kind of analysis kind of falls apart and it's a different story, a break above those resistance levels, that's kind of key. So, but in the meantime, I think we're going to be heading down. Aussie dollar. Well, since I put up the Aussie dollar videos about is the Aussie dollar going to crash, well, it has. We're down on the futures contract down here in the 91s. It's been extraordinary. So we broke into a downtrend here below cyclical support 102. 101 kind of down here, and then the parity level at 1 was an important level here. There's that blue professional bar kind of falling through the ice, keeping going here. Now we've had cyclical support kind of come in here, but remember we're in a downtrend because we're below cyclical support on the daily chart. Trend trumps cycle. So we're trying to find this bottom kind of down here. We've traveled a long way in terms of the Aussie dollar kind of currency, almost 15 points, kind of top up here, kind of down at the bottom, and we've got rainbow patterns down here. We're trying to find that kind of area where we're going to bounce from there. So we're still in a downtrend, but we've run out of puff kind of temporarily. And then Canadian dollar, the loonie, this week got slammed. Look at these 3 days in a row, bang, bang, bang. And what this was cyclical energy kind of lining up on the 2 time frames. So the cyclical resistance came in on the daily chart. We were already under it on the weekly chart here. So this was the professionals selling down. We come back up within that range of those blue professional bars. It's an amateur up bar. You can see here, amateurs kind of playing around at 98. They're wrong-footed. We come down, go through the lows of that, bang. So we've got cyclical resistance in on the daily chart and the weekly chart. Again, the energy is all to the downside here. So there we go. Hopefully that kind of run through kind of helps. In terms of the E-mini, what a day, what a couple of days, after FOMC, then we had the follow-through day, and then Friday was a jumpy kind of day. We had a little bit of strength overnight, and then that was the follow-through. That was all the amateurs after the open kind of selling their positions. We had continuation, and people, the pros trying to pick it up kind of down at the bottom. But we're still going to make pullback to end of trend on the 40,500 tip bar chart. So we're still in that kind of down sequence, and I expect to see some kind of exhaustion selling on a left shoulder. This was kind of getting the move going, and we've not seen that kind of selling to end the move. So although we're making pullback to end of trend and trying to find a low to bounce from here, I don't think it's all over on the downside. So just going to, I think we're going to be playing around the ranges a little bit Monday, Tuesday until we figure out if we're going to have a continuation on the downside. Anyway, hope your trading went well this week. Hope that video was helpful to you.